Hello, my spooky friends.
My name is Cassie,
And I'm Kaylin.
and welcome in to I'd Survive. I am so excited for this episode today because I'm not kidding you. This movie is I sat down with like my favorite movies because I know in our first episode of this podcast we told each other our 5 favorite horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
This one is now my number 4.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's actually crazy.
So now I go Scream, Psycho, Get Out, Funny Games. So,
Wow. Okay. So it's a
yeah.
good one.
At the same time, I'm not sure if you're going to love it or hate it.
Ooh, all right. You know what? I like a
Yeah.
controversy.
Yes, it's very different and it's like very much I think strong love or strong hate type of movie.
Okay.
So, I'm excited to find out where you land as far as that goes,
All
especially
right.
knowing that I'm like very much loving, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like we tend to have fairly similar taste.
Yeah.
So I think I have high hopes.
Okay. I wish I could just tell you why I'm so no, I just have to stop. I just have
She
to
wants
like
to
give you the
jump to the
long.
end.
Yes, I want to just get to the end of the movie. No, but other than funny games, I did try watching a different movie first for this episode and it didn't work out, but it
Mm.
was a good movie. I watched The Ugly Stepsister.
Yes. I'm probably gonna watch it now that I don't know. I'm curious about it now because
Yeah.
we were gonna use it for an episode, but
Yeah. And interesting, like random enough, I guess, The Ugly Stepsister is also like a complete like foreign film. And
oh.
Funny Games is a complete like different language foreign film.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um so that was interesting. I haven't watched foreign films in a while and then all of a sudden I watched 2 this week, but they were both fun experiences. Ugly Stepsister, I can understand like the parallels that are being made with The Substance just because it
Mm,
deals with like body horror and body image.
okay.
But that's kind of also where it ends as far as like the comparisons with The Substance. It's very much like its own
Gotcha.
thing and very well, I can't really say it's its own thing because it's also like the story of Cinderella, but
Yeah.
it's told in a really cool way, especially when we've seen Cinderella retold from a million different perspectives. Like this is a fun
Mm,
one. This is like a more
okay.
fresh fun one. So I would definitely recommend. But yeah, I can't remember. Have you watched anything new this week?
Honestly, no, I haven't watched anything new, but later today I am finally going to watch Sinners, so I'm very excited about that.
Yes, I'm not even going to ask for your thoughts, but I'm excited for the Letterboxd review and like the rating cuz that's all I need to know. I'm sure I'll end up watching it either way even if
Mhm.
somehow you end up not liking it, which like I don't know if
I
that's
doubt it.
possible. Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
based on everything I've heard, like, I don't see how I'm not gonna like this movie.
yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm also excited I don't know. I'm excited to watch that because I still can't like get the genre down. I'm like it seems like it's melding so many different genres.
Right, like, because if you look up just, like, Sinners on Google, it comes up as horror and just horror, like, alone, but
Oh,
from what I've
okay.
heard, it's so much more than that. So,
Mm.
I'm
Love
intrigued.
that. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But okay, let's get into funny games because I cannot be patient about it today. um,
Yay! Fair enough.
Funny Games is an Austrian psychological thriller. The main language of the film is German,
Ooh.
which is the main language of Austria. So, subtitles were my friend for this one. This movie premiered at the 1997 Cannes Film Festival. I always
I
hear
actually
people
don't
say it
know.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, but I do not know how to say it.
It's like the film festival of all
Yeah,
film
yeah, 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 yeah.
festivals. And it was extremely controversial at the time.
Oh.
Mhm. So, reportedly, a third of the festival audience walked out. Yeah.
What?
Claiming that the movie was a disgrace, vile, and a complete piece of shit.
Oh, okay. No, that's like you know what? Now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, it seems like 1997 wasn't ready for a movie like this, but I think it's like it's better received, I would say, overall in hindsight, like in
Mm,
2025.
okay. I believe that, yeah.
Also, So the main couple in the movie are played by Suzanne Lothar and Ulrich Mua, and the actors got married the same year that the movie came out.
Ooh.
They would go on to have two children together, and she was also a stepmother to his child from a previous marriage. But Ulrich would go on to pass away at 52 years old in 2007 from stomach cancer.
Mm.
And then in 2012, Suzanne ended up taking her own life the day before the fifth anniversary of Ulrich's death.
Oh, wow.
And it was the director of this movie, Michael Haneke, I think is how you say his last name. It was him that confirmed that information, like announced that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I went back and forth. We usually don't include stuff like this in like movie background. I went back and forth about including this information in like the background section, but I'll explain why I decided to share this after we talk about the movie.
Okay. Okay.
And then also, I do hate to say it, but trigger warning: there's a dog in this movie.
No, not again. Cassie.
I
Cassie, what
know.
the heck?
I know. I'm sure with that you're like really excited to get into it now. So
Oh, yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm just thrilled.
let's get into funny games. Oh, there's also, I want to say, like, shout out, there's a American remake of this movie. I think it did
Really?
decently. It's not as much of a staple film as the original.
Gotcha.
But it was remade by like the same man who made this one. So he did the
What?
American remake. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard that. I'm sure it's happened, but I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, me either. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I think he wanted it to, like, reach. I wonder if it didn't
Mm,
reach America the same way then as is reaching it now. Because I
yeah.
also was intrigued by this movie because it's one of those that's always floating in, like, the horror section on Letterboxd in,
Mm.
like, the more popular movies. So I'm like, "What is this movie?" I, like, hadn't really heard of it.
Yeah.
So, we start by meeting our main family of the film. They're driving in their car headed to their country club lake house where they're excited to play some golf with their fellow club member friends. And we have the dad, George, the mom, Anna, and their son, Georgie. So he's like George Jr., but
Yeah,
we're going to
Georgie.
call him Georgie.
Love that.
I would guess like him to be around 11 years old. And then they have a German Shepherd named
Oh,
Ralphie. I know.
no. I'm stressed
I
and
know.
sad already.
So, the parents are listening to opera music from their little CD collection, and they're making guesses with each other about which piece is playing without looking at it. And that's when we get jump scared by the title card popping up on the screen in like big red lettering, along
Whoa.
with the music switching very suddenly from this soft opera to some grindcore music, which I learned what that is because of this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep. I was like, the music that plays is so like out of the realm of anything that I've ever listened to. The closest that I would call it based on my own knowledge would be screamo.
Mhm.
But it's even different from that. So grindcore music is a subtype of music that is, quote, a highly aggressive and extreme fusion genre of heavy metal and hardcore punk.
Yeah, it sounds like
So
my worst nightmare.
yes. Like, it's intense. Like, there's men and women just screaming erratically over chaotic instrumentation. It's,
Ooh.
yeah, very jarring. They pull up into their fancy gated Gulf/lake community situation, and they notice a couple of friends of theirs, another married couple, and like their neighbors, are out on their lawn getting in some golf practice. So they stop the car in front of their side gate and just roll down their window and yell out to them, like, hey, no fair getting extra practice. Tee off is at 10 a.m. tomorrow, right? And Fred calls out to them, confirming that that's the plan, 10 a.m., except it's not just Fred and his wife that are practicing together. There are two other men with them, and they're both dressed like golfers and look to be in their like mid 20s. Anna and George are kind of confused by these random men, but they're like, whatever. They yell out to Fred and Eva that they want to get their boat into the lake, so they ask if they can swing by to help them with that in about 20 minutes. And Fred and Eva don't answer right away. They speak quietly to the men that they're with first, and then finally
Oh.
they call back and they're like, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a little sus, but sure.
Exactly. So Anna and George are like, cool, and then they just keep it moving. They're driving next door to their own house now, and they do both find the interaction a bit strange.
Okay.
Fred seemed stressed, and Eva didn't speak at all, and they don't recognize those men, but they just assume that it's probably their relatives visiting. Like, people always
Yeah.
bring people to their lake house, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
So once they get to the house, they unpack the car. Anna specifically unpacks the groceries and gets everything into the fridge as fast as possible. There's this cute shot of Ralphie, and he keeps shoving his little snout into the fridge every time she adds something new, and it's so, so
Oh,
cute.
good baby.
And then George has their suitcases and golf clubs inside, and now it's time for him to go deal with the boat. So their neighbor Fred is already waiting for them on the other side of the gate when George walks up his driveway, but one of those younger guys is
Mm,
with Fred.
okay.
And Ralphie has come along with George outside as well, and he will not stop barking at this new guy.
Okay, well, I don't trust him then.
Exactly. That's all it takes. 100% survivability. We're not letting them in. Actually, we're
No.
leaving now.
Yes,
Goodbye.
we trust the dog over anybody else.
Yeah. But George opens the gate for them and tries to get Ralphie to stop and like thanks them for coming to help with the boat. And Fred introduces the younger guy to George. His name is Paul, and he's apparently the son of a business friend of Fred's.
Paul.
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 Anna comes out and greets them, meets Paul for the first time, and honestly, he seems chill. He's on the quieter side, but very polite.
Okay.
So the men get the boat in the water. Fred and Paul head back over to Fred's house, and it's just George and little Georgie working on the boat in the water now, doing their boat things.
Cute.
And Georgie's upset because apparently Sissy isn't here this week, even though she told him that she would be. Sissy, we can presume, is Fred and Eva's daughter, who's around Georgie's age. But apparently Sissy ended up going on a trip to Italy with her friend at the last minute, so that's why she isn't here.
Okay.
And Georgie is bummed about it.
Yeah, that sucks.
Up at the house, Anna is on the phone while she's rinsing some veggies in the sink, getting some fillets out for dinner, food prepping it up. Also, I just have to say, it might play a small part as to why I love this movie so much because it's so 1997. Like the decor and like
Yes.
little phone and the even the quality of the film, like it's just, oh, I love it.
90s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she's in the kitchen on the phone with a friend, and based on the conversation, it sounds like she's just catching up with some friend of hers who she's actually trying to get to come up and visit the lake house this weekend to get a break from apparently a very stressful week that her friend has had.
Mm.
And Georgie comes running into the kitchen saying that Dad needs a sharp knife for the boat. So Anna gives him one and tells him that please, she'd like it back. Like in the past, she's not gotten it back.
Oh my God, that sounds like my mom. Anytime someone takes the scissors from the kitchen, she's like, those better go back in that drawer, or I swear to God.
Absolutely. The same situation happens. We have a drawer that the scissors are supposed to be in. They're
Yes.
never in there.
Yes, exactly.
Georgie takes it, leaves the kitchen, and then Anna returns to her phone call. But then, like 15 seconds later, Georgie comes back in and he's looking a little confused. And Anna's like, "What now?" And he says, "Someone's here." And
Oh,
it's like 5 o'clock in the evening, by the way. So, and it's summer, so the sun is still very much out, and we're not really getting any atmospheric creepy vibes or anything.
okay.
So Anna heads over to the front door. It's just the screen door that's closed, so she can see the
Mm,
man standing on the other side, and it's the other young guy that they noticed from before.
right.
So not Paul, which is the one that came to help with the boat, but the other one. And Anna doesn't open the door right away, but through the screen, she's like, "Hello."
What are you doing here, sir?
Yeah. And he goes, "Hello, I'm sorry to disturb you. I'm from next door. I saw you earlier when you stopped by the gate." So she's like, "Oh, yeah, of course. Come on in." Like,
Yeah,
apparently she forgot.
okay.
I don't know.
Wait, but also, like, why come in? Like, can we just talk on the porch, please?
Yeah, I think it's giving very much 90s to me.
I guess.
Like,
Yeah.
she's like apologetic that she didn't recognize him and immediately is like, "Come on in." And I'm like, "Okay, girl."
You know what? I think you're right because I feel like older movies, like people will just invite anyone into their house. And I'm like,
Yeah,
couldn't be me. You can stay on my
exactly.
porch. Thank you very much. Tell me why you're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I don't even answer the door, so
Facts.
so, yeah, she lets him inside, and Georgie leaves back outside to get back down to his dad, and Anna lets him know that they'll be eating in 10 minutes, so to be back up here soon. And Anna's attention is then back on this guy, and she asks what he needs. And he says, Eva sent me over. I mean, Mrs. Burlinger sent me over. She's
Oh,
cooking, right? Isn't that, it's kind of
that
weird.
is, yeah.
She's cooking and she's run out of eggs. She wonders if you could help her out. So, of course, Anna's like, oh, yeah, no problem. And they head into the kitchen. Apparently, Eva needs 4 eggs. So she gets her carton out and she does ask him what Eva's making, like why she needs
Mhm.
the eggs. And the guy's like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, okay, do you like them like this or should I wrap them up? Like, should I just hand them to you? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, whatever you like. Like, he seems very timid. Like, he's embarrassed or
Okay.
like he's a burden.
I mean, fair, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, the way you're describing it, like, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, I honestly can't tell if like because I feel that too, but I can't tell if it's because it's a movie or not. Like, I really can't.
Right.
And while Anna's getting the eggs out, she's like, wait, how did you get in? Because their property is gated.
Oh.
He answers, in front. I mean, down by the water. And Anna looks at him
Yeah.
and goes, like, but you're not wet. Like, you came, because, like, the lake, sure, you can swim through the lake to the next house over.
Oh, but you'd
Or,
have to go
like,
through the water?
yeah, like, wade through the shore because the fence goes down through the sand.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like, you're not wet. And he explains, no, there's a hole in the fence by the
Uh,
water, not in the water.
wait, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean there's a hole in the fence? Like, and you just crawled through it? Like, you thought
Yes.
that was okay? Like,
Yeah.
no?
But then he does further explain and go like, Fred knows about it. I mean, Mr. Burlinger knows about it, and he pointed it out to me. Like, he told me to go through that way, which is also kind of
Um,
weird.
yeah, no. I don't like that at all.
So Anna's just like, oh, all right. But anyways, like, she hands the eggs over into his cupped together hands, and on his way out of the kitchen, she asks that he just say hi to Eva, let them know that they're looking forward to playing golf together tomorrow. But then she hears a splat in the hallway.
Uh-oh.
So she walks out and sees that this guy is hunched over the 4 eggs that are now dropped and splattered on the floor.
Bro, eggs are expensive.
Right. And she laughs and is like, oh, don't worry, it's not catastrophic. Like, she has very much a no use crying over spilled milk mentality. And she's trying to make him feel better because he looks like he feels really bad.
Yeah.
But she goes into the kitchen to grab some paper towels. And while she's gone, this guy takes a moment to just peer around and like get a good look at the house,
Oh,
which is like, oh,
okay. Yeah.
what are you looking for?
Right.
But then she's back and she cleans up the mess while he apologizes. And then he follows her back into the kitchen where she throws the mess into the garbage. And he's still apologizing, just saying he's really clumsy. He's got 2 left hands. So she's like, so you're the perfect one to send on an egg run. And
Yeah.
yeah, he laughs a little and is like, haha, yeah. And then he just like keeps standing there and staring at her. So Anna just straightens up and goes, so what do we do now? And there's like an awkward silence between them, but then his eyes land on the fridge and then like back at
Uh,
her.
so can I have 4 more eggs?
Yeah.
Awkward.
He's like, yeah, gonna hand him over. But Anna's like, well, I do have a lot of extra steak I could spare you, but I might have some guests showing up this weekend and they might want eggs for breakfast.
Mm.
And he goes, well, you'd still have 4 eggs left for them. It was a carton of 12, right? Or am I mistaken?
Whoa, okay. Jeez, now you're suddenly very needy.
Yeah. He's just like, basically, give me 4 more eggs. Like, I don't, what's wrong here? What's the problem? And she is like, why are you so insistent about the eggs? Like, it's just polite. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like
No, no,
weird and
no.
awkward.
Like, if you come in asking for eggs, you're not going to demand them from me after you just broke 4 in the hallway. Like, that's weird energy.
Yeah. Yeah. This part very much gives me like Speak No Evil vibes. Like,
Yeah. No, I was thinking of that already.
yeah, very much like awkward politeness, but like, are my boundaries being pushed right now? I don't
Mhm.
know. So after some, yeah, awkward silence with him darting his eyes back and forth from her to the fridge,
Mhm.
she sighs and is like, okay. She pulls out the carton and is like, should we wrap them this time? and,
Yes.
and he goes, if you want. which she huffs and she's like, if I want. But she's like, yeah, considering you dropped the last 4, let's wrap these 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a pretty narrow kitchen. So when she steps past him to go get something to wrap them in, he steps back out of her way and ends up against the counter, which he grabs at with his hands to like steady himself. And when he does that, he accidentally knocks the only phone that they have into the sink that is filled with water.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Accidentally. I
Mhm.
don't know about that. I don't
Exactly.
know about that one.
Oh, and it's like they don't have a home phone because it's their lake house, so they don't have like wired phones
Mm-hmm.
here. But they have just the one like huge, gigantic cell phone
Yeah.
that they bring here. So now that's like, yeah, in the sink. And she's so frustrated, like, oh my God, breaking my eggs, breaking my phone.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
she tries to dry it off, but it isn't working. So she's like, okay, why don't you take my eggs and leave before you destroy the rest of my kitchen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's, of course, really sorry, but she wraps the damn eggs in some newspaper and sends him off with like a sigh of relief when he's gone.
Yeah. Get out of my house, please.
Yeah, she even like laughs to herself a bit because that interaction was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, what just happened?
Really bizarre.
Yeah, and she grabs herself a cigarette, a little stress relief, gets back to washing her veggies in the sink, and that's when Ralphie starts barking up a storm outside.
Oh boy.
And shortly after that, she hears a new man at her doorstep calling out, "Excuse me." So she
A new
walks out.
man. Oh.
She walks out into the hall to find both of the men. It's Paul and Eggman. We still don't have an egg. Or an egg. We still don't have a name. We still don't
In
have a
facts,
name.
we still don't have an egg.
Only 4.
Only 4 left.
No, it's Paul and like Egg Boy, and they're just standing like in her front hallway. They're not even outside. They're just in her front hallway.
Bye. No.
Yeah. And her dog Ralphie is barking at them and like jumping up on the door from outside.
Oh.
So that's why it seems like he tried to like come at them and they're like, ah, and came inside.
I see. I see. Uh-huh.
So she steps out and yells at Ralphie to stop and to go away, and Ralphie runs off. And then back inside, she apologizes to the men, explaining that or that Ralphie just wanted to play a game. Like he's just trying to play with them.
Mm-hmm.
And Egg Boy is like, funny game.
I did it.
So Anna looks at him a little worried and is like, wait, did he hurt you? And Paul just goes, oh, Peter's afraid of dogs. So Egg Boy is Peter, and then we have Paul. So Anna apologizes, and Peter tells her that the dog jumped on him. And again, she's like, okay, I'm sorry. And
okay.
yeah.
Like, cool.
Like, you're in my property. Like, yes.
Exactly.
She asks if she should lock Rolfie up so that they can leave. But
can you get out of my damn house?
Yeah. Like, what else do you need me to do to just leave?
Get the hell out.
And Paul's like, no, that's okay. But she's like, no, really, I can get my husband. And Paul interrupts her saying, no, that's not necessary. It's my fault. I forgot about the dog. Otherwise, I'd have come for the... And then he gets distracted and like doesn't finish his sentence because he clocks their really, really nice golf clubs that they have in the hall.
Oh.
And Paul does not hesitate to stroll right over to them, and he pulls a club out, gushing about how nice they are, and he asks if he could try it out, like do some test swings outside with them really quick.
Oh my God. Literally, no.
Yeah. It's
Like,
such like a speak no evil situation where it's like, it's rude for me to say no, but it's rude for you to be like still here.
No, it's 1,000% rude for you to still be here. And like, let's be real. I'm gonna say sure, go ahead, because like I can't say no to save my life. But I'm like in my head, oh my God, get out.
Exactly. Yeah, we can tell too that Anna just wants to say like, no, please just leave me alone. Like what? But she doesn't want to be impolite, so she sighs and is like, yeah, okay. So Paul takes the club and a ball from the bag and he heads outside. And then the barking starts up soon after, of course. And then Peter is still in here and he's telling her how much they both love golf. But Anna's distracted because why the hell does her dog keep barking? And these two are just really annoying and we're stressed and we're overwhelmed. So she's just like scatterbrained.
Yeah.
Down on the boat, George and Georgie hear Rolfie's barking as well. And they're calling for him to stop. But Then they hear a couple distant thuds, and the barking does stop.
No, 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 no.
And they look at each other like, that was weird. Like, it really, really distant thuds. Like, it wasn't like obvious violent thuds, but it was like you can just hear it.
Yeah.
And they're like, what was that? George is like, I'll check it out. So they both get off the boat. And when they do, we see a shot of them accidentally knocking over that sharp knife onto the boat floor, and it gets left there.
Oh, okay. Yikes.
Yeah. Up at the house, Anna is walking outside to find and check on Paul with her golf club because she's just distressed about him being out there with her stuff. And I don't know, her dog is freaking out and all of that. So she finds him and he holds up the club with like a big smile and is like, this thing is incredible. Thank you for letting me try it out. And he hands it back to her. And she gives him a very curt, like, you're welcome. And then she starts to walk away with it, like, back into the house. And he's following behind, very, like, loosey-goosey with his arms and posture and, like, walking slowly. Like, he walks like he just doesn't have a care in the world or anywhere to be or anything. He asks her as they walk back, so where's Tom? Did you give him the eggs? And she looks at him confused and literally asks, like, multiple times, like, what? Where's Tom?
Yeah.
Who is Tom?
Yeah, wait,
first
what?
of all? Exactly. And then, like, what? More eggs? Like, what happened to the other? Like, where are the other eggs? I gave you 8 eggs now. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, what's up with these eggs, dude?
So they make it back into the house. Oh, yeah, she does ask. She asks him multiple times, like, what? Like, explain yourself. But he just ignores her and keeps walking. And he
Oh my
enters her house
God.
first. Like, he leads her into the house.
Okay.
So once they're back in, Peter is still waiting in the hall. And Paul walks in first, all excited to tell Peter how great the driver is and how he has to try it too. But Anna is fed up and she goes, listen up. I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm not playing along. Will you please go now? Paul and Peter both look at each other very troubled, and Paul's like, what game? Sorry, ma'am, but I don't understand why you're suddenly being so unfriendly. Have Tom or I done something to annoy you?
Stop saying Tom. What the hell?
And Anna just says, please leave. Like, she's not.
She's done.
So Paul starts getting mad at Peter, scolding him and thinking Peter must have done something while he was outside. And he's apologizing to Anna about whatever Peter might have done while they were alone together, which, like, nothing. She just hates both of you guys because why are you still here?
Yeah, you're just being weird and annoying.
Yeah. So Anna walks over to the door. She opens it and she stands on business and she tells them to just get out of her house.
Good for her.
Yes. So Paul's like, okay, fine. If you want us to leave, we'll leave. Just give Tom the eggs and we'll be on our way. Of course, we will have to tell Fred and Eva. Honestly, nothing like this has ever happened to me before.
But what
Like,
the hell?
So she looks down at the ground and she's really trying to pull herself together here and be strong. And she is. Again, she repeats, I just want you to leave. She doesn't want to give you more eggs. She doesn't care what you're going to say to her neighbors about whatever you think happened here. Just leave.
Yeah.
Peter finally speaks up with his, like, puppy dog eyes and is like, did I do something wrong? And Anna can't take it anymore. She grabs Peter and starts pushing him toward the door.
Okay, good. I have no issues with this.
Yeah. She's like, just get out of here. But this is when her husband, George, walks inside and sees, like, this very odd commotion happening.
Uh-huh.
And he's very confused and he asks what's going on. And Anna takes her hands off Peter and just says to her husband, throw them out. Yeah. Paul steps in, of course, and he goes, your wife is mistaken. I'm glad that you're here. I'm sure we can sort out this misunderstanding.
Oh my God.
And Anna looks at George and is like, please, George, like, I told you to throw them out. Just throw them out.
Uh-huh.
But he just stands there, like, not sure what to make of this.
Oh my gosh.
So I know. So Anna's like, she laughs and she's like, I can't believe this. And Peter steps forward and is like, can I explain how this misunderstanding arose? And they explain to George the whole egg situation. Georgie is up here too at this point now, standing to the side, very confused, listening in. But anyways, Peter dropped the first 4 eggs. Then Rolfie jumped on him, and that made him drop the next 4 eggs.
Okay.
And now they want the last 4 eggs.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Anna just stomps off into the kitchen and grabs the carton, gives them to her husband, who was following behind her, and just says, give them the eggs. Just give them the eggs. And then she tries to walk off, but George is like, wait, I know this isn't just about eggs. Like, what's going on? Like, he just wants to know what is happening. And she says she doesn't want to justify herself in front of these guys, which, like, I totally get. Like, in this moment, when your wife is, like, distressed and just wants you to get these people out of the house, like, just listen and she'll tell you after.
Exactly. Like, I
Yeah.
will fill you in as soon as they are out the door.
Yes. So she tells George, I told you to throw them out, so I must have my reasons. Do as you like. For me, the subject is closed. And then she leaves the room, like disappearing elsewhere into the house.
Mhm.
So George turns to the men and asks them to please leave because his wife isn't feeling well. And awkward tension ensues, but then Peter walks up to George with a little smile on his face and extends his hand because he's like, okay, give me the eggs.
The freaking eggs, dude.
Yeah.
I cannot.
And George is standing there like, what? Seriously? Can you not feel the energy right now? Obviously, we don't want to give you these eggs.
Right?
Paul walks up to him and gets very close as well and goes, just give them to him. And now George is like understanding how off everything is. And he asks them, what's going on? Like they are in his face right now. And Paul is like, nothing's going on. We just need some eggs. Is that so hard to understand? And George tells him to watch his tone. And Paul responds with, careful or I'll break your eggs too. And Peter giggles at his friend's little comment, and George is pissed, so he slaps Paul across the face.
Deserved.
Yeah. And then he proceeds to like walk toward the front door and open it up and tells them to get out right now.
Yeah, what is the energy? I can't.
Mm-hmm. But Peter pulls out that club from the golf bag and swings it down hard on George's knee. And George falls to the ground in pain, clutching at it. And his son Georgie runs over and starts slapping and pushing at these men, trying to get them away from his father. But then they easily push him to the ground and they slap him around too, like to get him to stop and telling him to stop. So now like Paul's knee, I don't know if it's shattered, but it's bad. Like it was a bad hit. Like he like is screaming in pain.
Oh God.
And Paul goes, I don't want to hurt you, so behave. Like he's like scolding them for making a fuss. Anna hears this commotion, so she comes back into the hall and Georgie immediately goes running into her arms. She takes a couple steps forward, seeing her husband on the ground, but Paul tells her to stay where she is and explains, your husband slapped me. Yeah. And Peter backs him up and he's like, yeah, he started it. So
Okay. She's gonna believe you for sure.
yeah, right. And she's gonna care. Like, I don't care who's get out. What are you still doing here? So Paul goes, you can go over to him now, but don't do anything stupid. Get him a chair, and we'll need a tourniquet for his knee. Like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter studied medicine, so he can help. Peter's telling George to take his pants off because he needs to see the injury to be able to help. And he's like, I'm sorry I hurt you, but you forced me to. Tears are streaming from Georgie's eyes, and he looks like so scared looking around at these men while he's standing next to his dad. It literally breaks my heart. He's so cute. He also kind of reminds me of my brother. Like, they have very similar, like, physical features. Like, I see my brother in this little boy, and I'm like, oh my God. So George isn't taking his pants off or wanting to accept any help from these men, because why would he? But Paul says to him, you have to let him help you. You have no choice. You're a ship's captain, sir. You know the captain's word is law on board, right? So what do you want to do, sir? Do you want to call someone, like an ambulance or the police? Go on. I won't stop you. Neither will Tom. He's like, if you're not going to get help from us, like go ahead and try to get help from someone else, I guess.
Yeah, exactly what I will do.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So George looks up at his wife like, yeah, you should call the police. But she tells him that they dropped their cell phone in the water.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah. So George comes to terms with that and asks the men, why are you doing this? Peter goes, why not?
It's giving the strangers.
Oh, yes. This is so like speak no evil meet strangers for like the vibe right now. And Paul adds on, all right, how about another game, a guessing game? And he holds up the golf ball that he's holding and asks, what is this? And George answers, a golf ball.
Yes.
Paul's like, exactly, a golf ball. And why was it in my pocket? The lady knows. Anna doesn't play the game. Like, she doesn't play into it. She stands silent. So Paul asks Peter, why? And Peter answers, because you didn't hit it. Like when he was doing his practice swings, he still has that golf ball.
Right.
And Paul's like, exactly. And why didn't I hit it? And Peter thinks about it. He's invested in this guessing game. He wants to get it right. And he goes, because something stopped you? And Paul's like, yes. And because I had to test the club another way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
And it clicks for Anna what he's getting at. And we cut to Anna and Paul outside playing a game of hot and cold. that eventually leads her to finding their dog, Rolfie's, dead body in their Range Rover.
Oh, in the Range Rover?
Yeah, like she opens the driver's side door and he just slumps out onto the ground.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Back in the house, George is still sitting on that chair in pain, and Georgie is sitting on the floor next to him while Peter keeps watch on them by the door. But Peter's looking a little exhausted, so he asks George, "Could you kindly get me something to eat from the kitchen?"
No.
And George just gives Georgie the nod to go and grab him something because, like, ugh, we have to listen to these guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Georgie brings Peter like a pear or something, and Peter's like, "This is perfect. Thank you so much." That's it. So then back outside, Anna and Paul are still together when they hear some voices calling up to Anna from the lakeshore.
Oh.
So they walk over and see that a couple more of her neighbors from across the lake are on their own boat, and they're checking in because they saw that Anna and George's boat was docked at the pier. And I've never been more grateful for like nosy neighbors. Like, I'm like, okay, you just roll up and
Yes.
start calling up like, "I know you're here."
No, I know, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it works for right now. So Paul just looks at Anna and says, "We're thinking the same thing, right?" As in like, okay, this is a chance for you to get some help.
Right.
She just starts walking down to the shore and a whole conversation ensues. Paul comes with, so she introduces him to them as a guest of their next door neighbors. And there's three people. So there's like the main woman and then her husband and like her sister or something, and they're all around the same age as our couple who's also
Okay.
probably in like their 40s, 50s, probably 40s.
Gotcha.
A whole conversation ensues where like there's some small talk that happens, but then by the end of the conversation, Anna makes plans with them, like saying that, "Oh, we'll come by over by you guys for dinner tonight."
Okay.
And Gerda is like the name of the main woman that is her friend, and it's like, "Oh yeah, okay, sounds good." But Anna also told her that George pulled a muscle when working on the boat when she was like explaining why he couldn't come down and say hi right away.
Mm-hmm.
So Gerda is just like, "Yes, come for dinner if he's feeling better." So it's like,
Okay. So there's a little bit of room there.
yeah, if they don't show up, she might not find it like super weird.
Right.
But Anna is hopeful because we cut to her inside the house helping George like walk around, and she's telling him that Gerda and her family should be expecting them to come over tonight. Also, she talked to her friend on the phone and she was trying to get her to come up for the weekend, and she's like, "I think I convinced her like they should be here in a couple hours. Like there's people that should be able to help us tonight."
Right.
Which to me is like pretty wishful thinking. Like the way the conversation went in the kitchen, it didn't really seem like her friend was gonna come. Like the
Okay.
invitation was there, but it was like, I don't know. And I feel like if she does end up coming, she would probably want to call again and be like, "Okay, we're coming." Like it wasn't.
Yeah, she wouldn't just show up. That's fair.
Yeah. And then like the way the conversation went at the dock, I don't know if that was like enough. I don't know. It's not looking good.
Oh boy.
And the guys know everything and they're not stressed about this at all. Like apparently they were overheard the conversation on the phone. Like they were outside the window and heard that conversation on the phone.
Oh.
And obviously Paul was there and saw how it went down at the dock. So they're about as worried as I am about help being able to come.
Okay.
But anyways, she is helping George like over to the couch in the living room, and he now has a duct tape tourniquet situation over his pants happening for his knee.
Yeah.
And they get his leg elevated on the couch, and the guys are letting all of this happen and still encouraging them to let them help them because it would be less painful that way for him. But Anna's just like, "Can you boys cut it out?" And Paul calls her out for saying "you boys" with such familiarity, and he's like, "But this is good. I'm very happy about that. It vastly simplifies our interaction." Anna just walks out of the room. She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I don't. This is another movie where I'm like, okay,
Yes.
like what?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God. I just can't. Okay, I'm getting excited. Calm down. You're feeling exactly how you should.
Okay, good.
Georgie tries to follow Anna out of the room, but Peter keeps a hold on him. And Paul is still talking about how it's good that they are all going to be familiar with each other now. So he introduces himself finally to George, and he also introduces George to Peter, and then encourages Peter to shake George's hand. So Peter steps forward and extends his hand down to George just as Anna comes back into the room with a cup of water and some painkillers. So Georgie stays put now that he's free of Peter's hold, now that his mom is in the room.
Mm.
But George is refusing to shake Peter's hand for obvious reasons.
Yup.
And when Anna tries to hand George the water and the pills, Paul gets mad at George for refusing Peter's hand and yells, "You just brush Peter aside? Being on familiar terms doesn't mean that you can just..." And then he pushes Anna down onto George so that she lands on his knee. Yeah. And like George cries out in pain. Anna quickly gets up, but Peter starts kicking his knee. And Paul is pushing Anna around, who's like trying to get away and also help her husband. And he ends up throwing her onto the couch next to George as Georgie starts to attack them again, like trying to defend his parents, like little trying to beat him up. But it's just like, oh, you are 11, like you're so little.
You're a small baby.
So they easily get him down to the ground as well. And this is just when Anna officially breaks and starts sobbing. And it's like, what the hell are we going to do here?
Yeah, kind of screwed.
Yeah. So this is our first survivability check-in.
Whew. Wow.
Obviously, everyone's alive.
Everyone is alive.
I wouldn't put it past the boys. At this point, I wouldn't put it past them to like, if I make the wrong move, they're going to just take me out in this first section.
Right.
But it definitely seems like they're having their fun keeping them alive at this point.
Right. Because I mean, they're playing a game and they don't want the game to be over yet. I'm trying to think, like, truthfully, at this point, I don't feel like I feel like I would be in the situation that they are in right now. Like, I don't think there's any way I'm not in this situation at this point.
Okay.
Because I'm like, she honestly was more bold than I would have been in telling them to get out.
Yeah, I was so happy with her like attitude toward them and really rooting for her there.
Right. And then like when it comes to like the people on the boat outside, I worry that I would have actually said something.
Yeah, that's a big moment in the first act here for me as well, where it's like, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I also would have I would have just told them. I would have been like, we need help. Like, guys, get your boat, zoom on out, call the police. Like, I think I would have done that. And I don't know if that would have gotten me killed right away.
Exactly.
And my whole family killed right away and then they'd be on the run.
Right.
Or if that would have helped. I don't know.
Right. Because, now that you say it, it's like I do feel like that would be bad. Because either way, they're found out now. So why wouldn't they just do what they want to do and then run?
Mm-hmm.
God, so I don't even know how to score this. They're still alive, so I'm going to take that into account.
Right.
Honestly, I'll give myself a 90 because I do think they're still alive. I think I'd still be alive, but I definitely would be in this situation.
Okay. I was thinking along the same lines and I gave myself a 92.
Okay, perfect. Look at us.
Yeah. So once the family is under their control again, because there's like a little bit of chaos happening and just crying and everyone, there's a lot going on now. But they get the family under control again and now they're just like cowering and crying amongst themselves on the couch together. And Paul shakes his head and takes a seat on a chair across from them with Peter and goes, "So much fuss over a little familiarity. Like, oh, you could have just shook his hand," basically, is what he's saying. And George asks them the question that we're always waiting for in a horror movie. Well, he asks it for a second time now. He goes, "Why are you doing this?"
Mm-hmm.
And the first explanation that Paul gives us is that when Peter was a little boy, his parents got divorced because his mom wanted Peter more than she wanted Peter's dad. He says that all of his siblings are addicts and his father's an alcoholic and he still has sex with his mother to this day.
Oh, that's what you meant by want. Oh,
yes.
My brain didn't go there for what I think are obvious and fair reasons.
Yeah, it shouldn't go there. It shouldn't.
Oh my God. Okay. Love that.
Yeah, so Paul's like, oh, Peter's just a fucked up boy thanks to his fucked up family, basically. And Peter's crying, like, through all of this storytelling that is happening. Like, he's distraught having to hear about how fucked up his life is.
Yeah, yikes.
And then after letting the family sit in that for a second, Paul goes, "All right, so none of that is true. And you know that already. Like, look at him. Look at him. Obviously, he comes from a well-off, nice family. And honestly, it's so hard living a life as privileged as his. So you can understand that too."
Okay. I'm just stressed the fuck out. Like, that's not even funny at all.
No. So now Peter starts smiling again, like matching the energy of the news story where he comes from a privileged family and has a privileged life and he's so happy.
Oh.
So then Paul looks at the family and asks, "Are you satisfied now or would you like another version?"
Ew. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
They ignore him because they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And now Peter is hungry again. So he's like, "I'm going to go raid the kitchen." And he walks off. And as soon as he's gone, Paul is like, "Okay, you guys, I was lying for his sake. The truth is, he's the drug addict, not his siblings. He's going to shoot up in the kitchen right now. And also, I'm a drug addict too. And like, we like to rob rich families and like use the money for drugs and stuff."
You see, I'm not gonna believe a single thing this man says now. So like,
Yeah,
it's like I'm just gonna sit there and stare at you. I don't believe you.
exactly. And they're in the same boat. George is to the point where he's just looking at him and he's like, "Yeah, okay, stop bullshitting. You're both just psychopaths. We get it."
Exactly. I get the point.
Yeah. And Paul is like, "Oh, you get it? Oh, okay, that's great." So he calls for Peter to come back into the room and then decides to strike up a little something with the family. He goes, "Okay, we'll make a bet. It's about 9 p.m. now, and we'll bet that by 9 a.m., all of you will be dead." And Anna looks at them. She's so tired. And she just goes, "What?"
Girly mood.
Paul clarifies. He's like, "You bet that you'll be alive by 9 a.m., and then we'll bet that you'll be dead. Okay?" And the family are scared and silent because, what do you say to that?
Exactly.
And Peter's like, they don't want to bet. And Paul goes, "Well, that's not an option. There has to be a bet." And then Paul, girl.
Oh, what? What?
And then Paul turns and looks straight into the camera,
Ooh.
straight at me watching this
Oh.
movie.
Oh.
And he goes, "What do you think? Do you think they stand a chance?"
Whoa! What the fuck? No way.
"Do you think they stand a chance? You're on their side, aren't you? Who are you betting on?"
Oh my god.
I gave myself chills right now. Okay.
No, oh my god, I would shit my pants. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. Like, I love meta, but I've just never seen meta to that point. Like, breaking the fourth
No.
wall in that way. I'm just like, "Oh, hello."
Hi. I'm uncomfortable now.
And then Peter cuts in, annoyed with Paul, because he's like, "What kind of bet is this?" So everyone in the room doesn't notice that. Like, even his friend.
Yeah, gotcha.
He's like, "What kind of bet is this? There's no good to us. They're no good to us dead, and if they win, we can't let them live." And Paul explains, "They lose either way. That's what I'm saying." So Peter's like, "Oh, okay, chill."
Oh, gotcha.
And then Paul's like, "Okay, as they say on TV, the bet is on." And he relaxes back into his seat and asks them, "So what should we do now?" Now that Peter has finished like his sausage that he got from the kitchen, he asks Anna, "Could you kindly make us some food?" Paul high-key judges him and is like, "You just ate that whole sausage.
Yeah.
You're still hungry?" And Peter's like, "I haven't eaten since lunch. Stop judging me." And Paul's like, "Okay."
I haven't eaten
Oh,
since lunch.
Actually, right. It's like,
It's dinner time.
and Paul goes, "Okay, Tom." And Peter goes, "Okay, Jerry." Yeah. So like they're just
They're being oh my
yeah, they
god.
just have little nicknames for each other.
I get it now.
Mhm.
Oh.
We then get this whole sequence where Paul tells Peter that he should watch what he eats though, otherwise he will get jelly rolls.
Oh.
And Anna would never be interested in him if he had those. And then they start wondering how old Anna is and if she has any jelly rolls.
What the?
And they would really love to find out. So he orders little Georgie to come over to him so that they can play a little game.
Oh my god.
And Georgie complies because they're psychotic and they have golf clubs, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So they then proceed to put a pillowcase over Georgie's head and they hold it tight. And Anna tries to stop it, but Peter keeps her held back. The dad can't like stand up by himself. So he's like freaking out too, but he can't get up. Georgie's panicking and like fighting back at first. But obviously Paul is stronger and he just keeps telling him to just calm down and breathe, that he's letting enough air in for him to breathe, which he is.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, thanks. So once Georgie is calm, Paul goes, "Let's play kitten in a bag. Since now the kid can't see, mom can strip for you and me."
No.
So obviously she doesn't start stripping. George is telling them to stop, but Paul tells George to tell his wife to strip, and it's not that big of a deal because he's sure that she doesn't have any jelly rolls. Like there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Oh, so yeah, you know what? You're right. So it's fine.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
True that. True that. True that.
George begs Paul to let his child go, and Paul is fine with doing that. All George has to do is tell his wife to take off her clothes. And when George doesn't listen, he tightens his hold on the pillowcase, making Georgie scream out and freak out again.
Oh my God.
So George tells Anna to take off her clothes.
Right. Yeah. At that point, like the kid.
Yeah.
Like you gotta comply for the kid.
Yeah. Like you agree, like as the wife, like it's messed up. Like you wouldn't be mad that he's like not doing there's not really anything he can do, right?
Oh yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't blame him at all. Like he sees
Yeah.
that his kid is being like not literally tortured, but like tortured by these people, and the only way to
Yeah.
get him to stop is like, all right, you and I both see what's happening. Do what they say.
Exactly. Tears are streaming down Anna's face, and Peter lets go of her to take a seat next to Paul again for the show that he's expecting from her now. And she ends up taking off her dress, and I'm not actually sure if she's completely naked or if it's like brought. I think she is completely naked, but underwear on or something. I don't know. We don't like see anything graphic on screen. Like we
I
just
was
see
gonna
like her
say,
neck.
I was gonna say, how do you forget that? Like, how do you forget if you
Yeah.
saw boobs or not? But no, 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 they were.
No. Yeah, no, they don't like show, they just imply.
I got you.
But anyways, either way, it's fucked up. And she takes her dress off and just stands there for them. And Paul goes, "Great, just as we thought. No jelly rolls. You can put your clothes back on now." And so she does. And that's that game. Really fun.
Okay. What? This is so weird. This is so weird.
Yeah. Now that the game is over, Paul hands Georgie over to Peter and tells him to go clean Georgie up because he's not quite housebroken yet. So Georgie peed himself from fear while the pillowcase was over his head.
Mm,
Valid.
yeah.
But right as Peter takes a hold of him, George tries to lunge and like he's able to push Peter aside. He tries to just lunge and I don't know, like he's clearly not thinking long term. He just can't take it anymore, even though his knee
Yeah.
is bothering him. He tries and he manages to like push Peter aside. Anna immediately joins in, is like, okay, we're doing this. But they're quickly overpowered like during this attempt to get them away from their son.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is that Georgie was able to run away.
Oh.
So he makes it to the front door, but there's like a special lock that has been placed on it by the men from the
No.
inside. So like he can't get out the front door.
Shit. It's not looking good for me. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, yeah. So instead, he runs up the stairs and escapes the house by climbing out a window and like
Oh.
scaling down the wall. So he does manage to get out of the house.
Oh, resourceful child. Okay.
Yes. In the house, they now have Anna's wrists and ankles bound with duct tape, and she's placed on the couch.
Oh.
They've just left George on the floor where he's still like hunched over and he's like stuck down there because of the knee.
Right.
And Paul tells Peter to not get too bored with these two while he goes to find Georgie. And he goes upstairs because he heard him run upstairs. Meanwhile, Georgie's trying to climb the fence at the end of the driveway, but like he's unsuccessful. So he just is running elsewhere. He's like trying to figure out how to get out.
Mm-hmm.
We cut back to the house where Peter's sitting with the parents. He's even kind enough to get George back into a chair. And Anna asks him why they don't just kill them. And
Yeah.
Peter goes, "Don't forget the entertainment value. We'd all be deprived of our pleasure."
Mm-hmm.
So back to Georgie. He's wading through the lake now to get over to Fred and Eva's property.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know if like that hole in the fence is real.
I was wondering about that. Okay.
Yeah, but if it is, like he didn't find it.
Gotcha.
So he's wading through the lake to get over to Fred and Eva. And he makes it up to the shore and he starts running toward the house. And that's when he hears like something down at the lake. And when he looks back, it's Paul. So like Paul's already like in the lake, like coming up at the shore as well.
Oh my God. Ew.
And he's just like calmly making his way over. Like he's just like do, you know.
Gross.
Yeah. So Georgie books it into the house. The side door is open, and this time when he looks back at Paul, Paul's got like a little light jog going on. Like he's not like running. He's just like, I'll get over here.
Ew.
Yeah, the energy is disgusting. Back with George and Anna, they're now getting lectured by Peter about how crazy it is that they've created such a fuss over a carton of eggs. But then he's like, wait, there's still 4 eggs left. That sounds good right now. So like he goes into the kitchen And of course, as soon as Peter's gone, Anna gets up. She jumps over to George, like she's like bound, but she jumps over to George so that he can undo or try to undo her duct tape.
Oh, yeah.
And he's working on it the best he can. He's also, I think he's not. Yeah, no, he is not bound. So it's like trying to get at it with his hands, and he's trying to use his teeth because like duct tape is strong.
Yeah, duct tape is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Peter ends up hearing them shuffling around, so he comes back into the room and he like has the carton of the eggs in his hand and he's like, "Ugh, do you think I'm stupid? Like it's like you guys want to be treated poorly." And he grabs Anna, pulls her back over to the couch. She falls over onto the ground in the process. He drops the eggs on the carpet
Oh.
and they splatter
Oh?
on the carpet, the last 4 eggs. And Peter's really stressed about that because now we have raw eggs splattered on the in the living room and he's like, "Oh, Paul specifically said to be careful with the carpet." Which like why? What does he care? I don't know. I don't know.
Y I just don't believe or trust anything that they're saying.
Yes, everything feels very performative.
Yeah.
Back with Georgie, we have a game of hide and seek happening in the neighbor's house against his will.
No.
He's currently hiding in like some tiny room, I don't know, but he looks back to where he came from and he sees his wet footprints on the wood floor leading to his hiding spot.
Oh, no.
So he's like, "Oh no, I'm leading him right to me." So he takes off his shoes and his socks and his overalls to keep himself from trailing any more water around.
Mhm.
And he sneaks around the house to find a new hiding spot. And I can't lie, like his hiding spots are really bad, but like he's a kid, so I have to let it go.
Yeah.
And he's like just standing around the corner of a wall, but I think he knows that Paul's in the house at this point and he's just trying to like quietly make his way around until he can find an exit point to get out before Paul
Right.
realizes that he's escaped. So he's on the move again and he looks out a window, maybe thinking about escaping through it. And then the light that was on in the next room over suddenly turns off.
Ooh.
And so he's like, "Oh, okay, gonna keep it moving." So he stays on the move, avoiding that room now. And while he's walking through the house, he walks past a bathroom where he sees his friend Sissy's dead body on the floor. Yeah.
Whoa!
She was not away in Italy. They just told him that to explain why he couldn't like come over and see her.
Wait, who told him that, though? Was it
It
these
was
2?
it was Paul. Well, it was when Paul and Fred were over helping with the boat. And
Gotcha.
I'm guessing like Fred felt like he was complying with Paul and said what he was supposed to say.
Oh, so Fred and Eva were experiencing the same thing likely. This whole time,
Yes.
I was thinking, like, they were in on it, but that makes
Oh,
more sense.
yeah, no. Cause yeah, now Georgie sees Sissy on the floor and there's a lot of blood and he can't bother being quiet. Like he can't help it. He just runs.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah. And we hear Paul like call out from somewhere in the house, "Georgie, I'm coming." But Georgie
Ew!
but Georgie ends up finding himself a shotgun in the house.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
And once he's got that, he just runs into a closet and hides, and I think he's planning to just hide in there until he's inevitably found and maybe he'll like try to use this gun.
Okay. I mean, this is a pretty smart kid. Like, I know you said the hiding spots were bad,
Yeah.
but this is not bad for an 11-year-old-ish,
No,
11-ish.
exactly. There were a couple moments where I think it's just realistic too, where he didn't like, I couldn't tell what he was trying to do. Like if he was trying to find a good hiding spot, if he was trying to get on the move, like, or if he was just
Mhm,
genuinely panicking. I will say this is an hour and 50-minute movie.
mhm.
And it really like, it's that long because it really sits in a lot of long shots and like a lot of long sequences. It like feels
Right.
very hyper realistic. So like it's probably like a good 10 minutes of this, like
Oh,
around
wow.
around the house, like in total of him just trying to figure out what to do.
Gotcha.
Okay, so he's waiting in the closet, and while he's waiting, he suddenly hears Paul's voice again from outside the closet go, "Okay, hold on, I'll put on some music." And we get a close up of Paul putting a CD in a CD player, and that grindcore screaming music starts
No.
up at full blast.
Oh, no.
And after a little more cat and mousing, they finally come across each other in a hallway. Yeah, because like I think when he heard the music, he's like, okay, he's just I have to like play into the game. Like I think
Mm,
he knows it's a game, and if he just stays in the closet, he's not going to get anywhere. So eventually, they come across each other in a hallway, and Paul stands there with his arms crossed, like not concerned at all about the shotgun in Georgie's hands. And he's just like, hello, Georgie. And Georgie has the shotgun raised and he's shaking and he goes, don't come any closer. And Paul does come closer and he instructs Georgie to cock the gun if he wants to shoot it. And Georgie's like, oh, right. So he does that.
Oh.
And Paul is still walking closer and closer. And he's like, now you have to pull the trigger. Go on, pull it. And when Paul's standing basically directly in front of him, Georgie does it. He pulls the trigger.
Oh.
And nothing happens because there aren't any bullets in there right now, which Paul, of course, knew.
Right. Honestly kind of proud of him for pulling the trigger. Because, like, I feel like in a lot of situations, people just wouldn't do it. Like, I feel like I see that a lot. So, damn. Okay. Okay, kid.
Yes, I know. Like, and you can tell throughout that scene that he's scared and he doesn't want to do this.
Right. Of course not.
Like, it's terrifying and awful and everything. But yeah, he does it. Back in our main house, Peter is just flipping through some TV channels while Anna and George are also just there. And Paul is right. Peter's gotten a little bored. But thankfully, the front door opens and Paul's voice rings out, we're back. And Georgie comes running in straight to his mom and hugs her. He's still like just wearing his like muddy shirt and underwear.
Oh, yeah.
And Anna does her best to comfort him, but like she can't hug him because of her being restrained. But she's like rubbing her face back and forth on the top of his head to try to like make him feel better.
Oh my God.
And they're both crying and she's like saying it's going to be okay. But he tells her that they killed Sissy. And it's like, yeah, there's not too much comforting that she can do at this point.
No.
Paul comes in with the shotgun over his shoulder and greets Peter by going, hey, Beavis. And Paul goes, hey, butthead.
Yep. Tom, Jerry, Beavis, butthead. I see it. I see it. I get it.
They're just like so silly and quirky. You know?
Oh, yeah, they are. That's true.
And when Paul takes a seat next to Peter on the couch, Peter's all excited to get his hands on that shotgun. He's checking it out, all its bells and whistles, admiring it. And Paul addresses George and he's like, did you know that your little darling just tried to kill me with this rifle? Hard to believe, but it's the truth. Right, Georgie? Georgie just keeps crying into his mom's lap. And Paul asks Peter what time it is. And it's past 11 now.
Ooh.
So Paul's like, maybe we should start thinking about our bet. Like, don't worry, Georgie has helped us out by getting this gun.
Yeah.
And then Paul pulls out 2 shotgun shells with like an excited smile and goes, one for Beavis and one for Butthead. Like they both get a shot.
Oh.
And Peter's all excited. He starts loading the gun. And then Paul does a little version of like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pointing to all the family members. But the rhyme ends with him saying, you're not leaving at this stage. First, you have to tell your age. And his finger ends up landing on Anna. So he asks her how old she is. And she doesn't answer because fuck them. So they go on for like a good 2 minutes wondering amongst themselves, the boys, about how old they think she is. And they decide to, quote, be generous and guess that she's like 35. So Paul's like, okay, you can start counting. I'm going to go get something to eat. And then Paul goes into the kitchen to fix something up for himself. Meanwhile, Peter is counting up to 35 and pointing from family member to family member with each number. And whoever the number 35 lands on is decidedly going to be apparently their first victim.
Oh.
And while Paul's looking through the fridge, he calls out, can I get anyone anything? Like, yeah, being hospitable and everything.
Yeah, of course.
And then a shot rings out from the living room and we hear Anna gasp. And Paul's just standing in the kitchen looking like, ugh, he wasn't supposed to kill someone right away. Like, we were going to make this an all-night thing. Kind of annoying. But he goes back to making himself that sandwich, and we stay on him.
He goes back to making his sandwich? Are you kidding me? That's insane.
Bro's hungry. Like, his friend's been eating everything. He's got to have his turn too, you know?
Wow.
Goes back to making his sandwich, and we stay on him. We watch him, and the whole time we're hearing, like, a very loud commotion going on in the living room. There's screams, there's thuds, there's a lot going on in there.
Oh my God.
Then we cut to a still shot centered on the TV in the living room that is still on. I'm pretty sure it's NASCAR that's on right now. And the TV is covered and dripping in blood.
Oh my God.
And over this shot, we hear the 2 men, like the 2 evil men, arguing with each other. And Paul's calling Peter an idiot because, first of all, he played the game wrong, apparently. The person who ended up landing on 35, they were supposed to be eliminated and safe.
Oh.
And then you count again with the other two, and whoever it lands on, they're safe. And then whoever doesn't get picked is supposed to die first.
Oh, he fucked it up.
Yeah,
That's,
it's like you ruined the game.
kind of a major fuck up too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like that's big stakes.
That is pretty big stakes to screw up.
So Peter's like, yeah, okay, but like he tried to run. So what was I supposed to do? But Paul's standing by it and he's like, you can't just start firing away. You have no sense of timing. It's barely midnight. We won't get anything out of the other two now. Let's just go. So he's mad because someone is dead and now the other two are not going to like be as easy to manipulate into playing their games.
Oh, wow.
So they're like heading out and we hear Paul call out, yeah, they're like, this is it's ruined. So they're heading out and they call out as they leave, I'm putting your driver back in your golf bag. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening. And then they're out the door. They're gone.
No, what? No. Wait, what? What do you mean they're gone? Are you serious? Okay.
The game isn't fun anymore.
The movie also isn't over. What the frick?
So then we cut to a shot of the living room where we see George's legs peeking out from behind a sofa where he's lying on the floor. Anna is sitting up on a chair with like a blank face, still bound completely, like wrists and ankles.
Uh-huh.
And Georgie is lying in a pool of his own blood by the TV, shot dead.
I figured it had to be him because of the running thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Not that I wanted the dad to die, but like not the kid.
Yeah, and it also like is really dark because I feel like the comment that he made, that Paul made about like the other two, we're not going to get anything out of them anymore.
Right.
It's like now that their child is dead, like they're just going to be out of it and like unwilling to play into anything. There's no hope for them anymore. Like
that's true.
They're probably like, go on and kill me now. Like what the hell?
Right. They probably like low-key want to be killed now.
Yeah. So anyways, second survivability check-in.
Bruh. I like, the kid did such a good job. Like, yeah. I can't really point to anything he did and be like, well, that was really dumb and I would have done this differently. Like technically in my brain, because of my context, I wasn't going to go into that house. But then again, if I don't go into that house, I'm probably just going to be trapped in another gated property. So I'm trying to see a universe in which I survive this because I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're the parents, unless you're putting yourself in the parents' shoes. I mean, they're still alive.
They're still here.
But Georgie's fate, it's like, yeah, I don't think there's just anything he could have done.
Right. Like, honestly, I always like to leave a little room because there's always room. But like that for Georgie, it's like 5% because it's like, what will I have done differently?
Yes. So
it's like no, and then it's high for the parents because they're alive. So I'm gonna go with like a 53.
Okay, we had the exact same line of thinking. I went with a 47.
Okay.
Because I was like, yeah, I'm almost 0% with Georgie, and I'm almost 100 with the parents,
right?
Because they're alive. And then that brings us to like 50%. But then I went 3 under instead of 3 over, like you did.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, there's still something I could fuck up as the parent,
right?
And I could like end up dead somehow as a parent. As Georgie, yeah, it's like hopeless.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's kind of where I was because I was thinking of it for me the way I was calculating it was like it's 3. Right. So everyone's got like around a 33% chance. And the parents, it's like, should I survive because they're alive? Yes. But there's a chance I do or say something that gets me killed instead.
Exactly. Especially when it comes to like, I don't know, trying to, oh my God. Honestly, if someone killed my dog, I would throw him, like I would do something
Cassie,
really stupid.
I love that you like jumped right over the kid and went to the dog. Not my child, but my dog.
Listen, I don't have a child, so I can't. I mean, I can understand, but no, I'm thinking like just even from the jump, like from the beginning of the movie, like I might be dead right then when I found out my dog was killed in the beginning.
Yeah,
because I'd be out of my mind, and I would probably be very physical with them, and I wouldn't be able to take them, and they might have to kill me to get me to stop. Like,
right? Yeah.
Back to it, we are on that like shot of the living room where we are seeing Georgie on the floor dead. We're seeing Anna on the chair, and we're seeing like George's legs peeking out behind the sofa on the floor.
Like he's not moving?
No.
Okay.
Now, this shot goes on for 10 minutes, no cuts.
I love it.
Yes.
I love that stuff so much.
As it goes on, oh my God. Okay. You need to watch this movie. So as it goes on, like we do have some camera panning that happens, but that's the most that happens with the camera.
Wow. Okay. I love it.
So just keep that in mind as like I get into the sequence of what happens in like this 10-minute shot.
Sure.
Several minutes go by where like nothing is happening other than silence, and our eye is really just drawn to Anna and like seeing her face trying to process everything. Eventually, she does get up and she hops over to the TV because it's still on and like blasting NASCAR, and it's fucking annoying. So like she turns it off. And then once she manages to turn the TV off, she just sits there like on the ground for a bit by the TV, and like the shock and adrenaline is just continuing. It feels so like hyper realistic. Like choosing this moment to be that long shot is perfect.
Yes, right.
She then tries to get free of her duct tape on her wrists by using the corner of like the TV console. That doesn't end up working, so she stands again and starts hopping over to the kitchen. And at this point, we see George is slowly getting up into a sitting position where he's at by the sofa.
Okay.
So she tells him that she's gonna go get a knife and like try to get herself free of this duct tape. While she's trying to do that in the kitchen, it's George who we're looking at in the living room now that he's sitting up. Always in shot is their dead little boy, right?
Yikes.
He's always also in the shot. But like we're watching George because now he's sitting up and he is quiet at first, but then he gets to a point where he starts sobbing, and it is unlike any other movie sob that I have ever seen. It is heartbreaking. It feels so real. It's like it's hard for any sound to escape his body, but when it does, it's like breathless and guttural at the same time.
Yeah.
His sobbing at times just turns into it sounds like a scream, like he's just screaming, and then also hyperventilating. Like it's just a totally unrestrained, ugly cry that I'm not kidding, I've never seen before from an actor.
Wow.
It was intense. Anna makes it back to him after successfully cutting herself free, and she gets down on her knees next to him and hugs him, and they stay like that for a while as like his crying continues. And after several minutes, he's able to pull himself together for their sake, and the crying stops. We sit in the silence for a bit, and we sit in the trauma with them. And then eventually she's like, we have to get out of here.
Yeah.
She asks if he can walk, if she supports him, and he says that he can try. So he ends up screaming in pain, but she's able to use all of her strength to get him standing. And like she's supporting practically all of his body weight to keep him up. And he's completely slumped over against her over her shoulder. It takes the babiest of baby steps, but they're like able to start moving and make their way toward the hall. It's like boop, boop.
Yeah.
Boop, yeah. So that is when the continuous long shot comes to an end, is when they like leave the room.
That feels like so heavy. Like
Yes.
you're like telling me this and I'm just like, oh, ow. Like this shit hurts.
Yes, it is very unique in its storytelling as far as a horror movie goes, because usually like bodies drop left and right in horror movies and everyone around is just like, oh my God, that's crazy. Keep it moving. Like
exactly.
But this, I mean, it makes sense because it's their son. So there's that extra factor added on as well. But just in general, it's still like it was really weird to sit in that with them. Like I just never had experienced that in a movie.
Yeah. Can I ask like a random question? Just from like a production standpoint, does it look like they used like based on the way the shot was set up, does it look like they used like a dummy for the kid, or did the kid have to like lay there still for 10 minutes, do you think?
Oh, I think it was the kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I think it was the kid. The face was like away from us. So like
okay.
It could be a dummy, I guess, but it wasn't like I looked at that and I was like, oh, that's a dummy. Like I believed that was that actor.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we cut to Anna trying the front door handle while George is leaning against a wall, but the men have locked them in from the outside.
What?
Yeah, with that like special lock that they have added on that they were using on the inside. Now it's on the outside and they can't get out the front door. So she's like, okay, we have to find a window. And George realizes that this is just not going to work with her having to try to carry him around everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so he tells her to go on without him and just find help, and that they'll both have a better chance that way.
Mm-hmm.
It takes some convincing, but she eventually agrees. And he tells her to get dressed and like get some, she just has like a slip dress on at this point. He tells her to get dressed, get some shoes on so she can run. Her bag is still unpacked in the hall, so she starts right away, like gets her clothes out right there and starts pulling them on. And he says that he'll lock himself in the basement and just like wait for her to get back.
Honestly, I think this is a good plan. Like, I have
Yeah,
no issues with this plan at all.
agreed. Like so far in the movie, wouldn't do anything different.
Right. Like, I feel like the decision making's actually been perfectly fine.
Yeah. Before Anna crawls out of the kitchen window, though, she checks on the phone again, and it's working now. Like it's like
Oh,
the buttons are making noises, and like she can press the buttons now and put in a number. Like it's working.
okay.
And she's like, "Oh my god!" So George is like, "Okay, call the police." But Anna goes, "Do you know the number?" And George sighs and is like, "No, I don't know." So did like Austria not have a 911 type of service in the 90s? I don't. I
It couldn't have been,
Yeah,
right?
it just must not be a thing. So that's like
Weird.
super unfortunate. So George is like, okay, call call Peter. He's number 4 on speed dial, which obviously we're not talking about evil Peter.
Yeah, that's like why would they do
Yeah,
that?
I know. I kind of love when like books and movies and whatever it is do that, because it is common for people to have the same names in real life, but it's just like you don't do it in fiction because
It's true,
you want to
right.
like make it easier for the audience to know who's who. But I kind of like that,
Exactly.
like he has a friend named Peter that they're gonna
Right.
call. But anyways, yeah, random coincidence. A friend or a brother, I don't know. So she tries to use like the 4 speed dial to call Peter, but it doesn't ring. So they're like, maybe it's not dry enough to work for like speed dial contacts. I don't know. It's like, who knows? She tries to unpack its battery and like get it even more dry, but whenever they try to call someone, it just doesn't work. So before leaving George, she gives him a chair to sit down in for now and hands him the phone, and she plugs in a hair dryer so that he can just keep like trying to dry out the phone and just
Oh,
keep sitting here and try to get it working.
dude, I wouldn't even think to do that. Like,
I
they're so much
know.
smarter than me.
They're doing so well, yeah.
They really are.
And then there's another heartbreaking moment before she crawls out the window where he stops her and like gets really emotional and just says that he's sorry, and he asks her to please forgive him. Like thinking back to the moment where he didn't just throw the men out immediately at her
Ugh.
first sign of like discomfort.
Yeah.
And she starts crying too and just immediately kisses him and tells him she loves him, and like there's just no resentment whatsoever, and then she's off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We cut to an exterior shot of the home where we see Anna running across the lawn. She brought pliers with her and she makes it to the chain link fence at the front of their property and starts like snapping away to make an opening.
Can I ask what's at the top of like the chain link? Is it like barbed wire or
It's
something?
not barbed wire, but it stays chain link, and it's one that like curves over a bit,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
you
Yep.
know?
I know what you're talking
So
about.
I probably wouldn't climb that either. So she successfully makes it through the fence. She also successfully makes it to a neighbor's front gate. Obviously, not Eva and Fred. She knows that they've got to be dead if their daughter is dead.
Right.
But she makes it to a different neighbor's gate, and there's a button, like a doorbell that she
Yeah.
presses, hoping that that'll get their attention inside. But like no lights come on. There's really nothing. So she just starts screaming at the top of her lungs for help. I don't know if this is the move I'd go for here, but
Yeah,
like there
no.
are limited options at this point, so I get it.
Yeah.
But I'd be like trying to be super stealthy at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not screaming or anything like that.
Yeah. Because, like, knowing they put the lock on the outside of the door, it's like, okay, they're still playing with us.
Mhm.
Back with George, he's finally got the phone dry enough that it rings when he calls his friend. And it sounds like his friend picks up, but there's pretty much no sound coming through. He can't make out anything from Peter's end.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure Peter can't make out anything from our end either. Like, we're not hearing each other. The call's going through, but we can't hear. So, not much hope when it comes to the phone call. Back to Anna, she's running along the road. It's like still the private like road within the club. A car comes speeding down and she tries to get it to stop for her. Would you? Would you trust like the cars
Oh,
around?
dude, I'd be so no, I don't think I would. I would be so much more scared of running into them
Mhm.
than anything else, knowing because like I'm like it's dark, it's night. I feel like I can find another option than pulling over a person who I don't know who it is.
Yeah, she does try to get it to stop for her, but it just keeps driving. And I don't think
Okay.
they saw her because she like jumped out from like the foresty area and started calling out to them when they'd already passed. So like it's just a matter of looking in your rear view.
Gotcha.
But they just keep going. So she just keeps walking along and she's hoping that another car will come along. And thankfully another one does. So she like, and she gets in front of it and is like, hey,
Oh
hey,
my
hey.
God.
We then cut back to George.
Ah! Don't do that to me.
I know. And he has managed to get himself over to Georgie's body and is covering him up with a blanket. And then he hears the front door squeak open.
No, fuck. He doesn't, though.
Mm-hmm.
No, no,
And
no, 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 no.
he calls out. He's like, Anna, but there's no answer. And then a golf ball comes rolling down the hall.
Bye.
And like lands right at the opening of the living room for him to see. And of course, Paul walks into frame. He picks up the ball and throws it at George. Like he like picks it up like super casual and then he like chucks it super hard.
Oh
And then
my
he
gosh.
misses and he's like, oh. Exactly. He's like, oh, I missed.
Whoops.
So he's of course talking to Peter, who comes walking in with Anna bound and gagged now with rope.
God. Okay, if that's because of the car, I would have made it through there. So
yeah, I do think that's the implication is like it was them in the car. So
yeah,
I agree. I don't know. The selfish thing to do in this situation is I think these two are psycho enough to like keep true to their bet where if I can make it to 9 a.m., then they'll let me go.
That's a good point.
So if I wanted to be selfish, honestly, find a spot in the woods, like dig a hole. I don't freaking know. Like you can find a good hiding spot randomly in the woods.
Right. I think
and just stay there.
Once I'm outside, maybe I'm naive or like overly confident, but like I feel like once I escape the house and the property, I'm good. I truly believe that. Because I'm not I don't know, I'm gonna find somebody to help me.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna run to a car. I'm just not gonna do that.
If I'm only worrying about my own life, I think I have a good chance with how far she got. But I would like to be worried about my husband. And if I just try to wait it out, stick it out till 9 a.m. or like whatever, I'm worried about what's happening to him in the meantime. So then I'm more desperate with my decision making. And that could lead to a mistake.
That's fair. I do think though, like if I'm her, she still has the pliers, right? Like I'll cut into a neighbor's property. Like I will
just keep going.
Exactly. I'm finding a neighbor.
It's annoying though too, the fact that they're at like this lake house community and a lot of people like aren't at their lake house right now. So it's like who's home? That's annoying too. Is just like, but I guess just keep going, just keep trying new houses.
I'll break into a house, find a phone. Like I swear, like whatever it is, I don't, maybe I'm super cocky. I just think if I'm her at this point, I'm good.
Yeah. I think it's smart too to think that way where it's like, I don't really need to worry as far as like breaking into houses just to get to a phone. That's smart. Like I didn't think about that. I don't know why. We cut to both Anna and George on the couch together with Peter and Paul sitting across from them, and they're bickering about playing the game right this time.
Oh.
So Peter counts back and forth between them up to 35, and the decision is made. We don't get to see who he landed on, therefore, like who is safe and who is dead next.
Right.
Peter loads the shotgun again, and he's about to take his shot. We don't see who he's pointing at, but then Paul sees a knife on like the nearby table from when Anna set it down after freeing herself from her duct tape before. And Paul assumes that this new little toy has been unlocked thanks to Anna, and so he thanks her and he's like, this will make things a bit more amusing.
Oh.
Then he walks over and uses the knife to cut the rope to remove the gag from her mouth, and he goes, the mute suffer in such unspectacular fashion. We want to offer the audience something and show what we can do, right? Kind of breaking the fourth wall again and being like, we have to make things more interesting for the people watching.
Right. Okay, I love that.
Yeah. So she's gasping for breath when the ball of rope is out of her mouth and Paul's ready to play another game. He explains to her that now they're going to be playing the loving wife, also known as whether by knife or whether by gun, losing your life can sometimes be fun. So
the freaking rhymes are killing me.
I know. I don't think Girlie is even processing what he's saying at this point. Like she's exhausted mentally and physically. She can't take much more. Her eyes like start to drift closed, but he like shakes her awake and is like, hey, no sleeping. You have to play or I'll gag you again. So anyways, here are the rules. George lost the count, so he's up next.
Oof.
No changing that unless you want to jump in for him. Do you want to? She just stares at him like, what the fuck? Like, the whole night they've been trying not to play into their games and they're trying to stick with that. And George speaks up too, like telling them to just get this over with. He says, that's enough. And Paul kind of scoffs at that and is like, that's enough? What about you, Anna? Do you think this has been enough? And George tells her not to answer and to just let them do what they're inevitably going to do because then it'll be done with more quickly. And Paul's like, ugh, that's cowardly. We're not up to feature film length yet. And he looks directly into the camera and into my soul again and asks, is that enough? You want a real ending with plausible plot development, right?
Oh my God. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Then he looks back to the couple and says the bet is still on and they can't just end it like this. So he's like, anyways, back to the game. Anna, you can pick who dies next and with what implement. And Anna is completely dissociated. She's like not playing the game. So Paul hands Peter the knife and tells him to show her how the game is going to be played then. And we stay on Anna's reaction, but we hear Peter stabbing George repeatedly.
Oh.
She looks like she's going to throw up. The tears are like flowing, but her face is just stuck in shock and panic.
Yeah.
And Paul reminds her that she could easily have spared her husband the pain if she would have just picked the weapon herself. So after some like really hazy contemplation, she asks him what she has to do. And like she's ready to play. Paul smiles and is like, okay, new game. All you have to do is say a prayer of your choice. If you make no mistakes, God will help you and you get to choose what happens next.
Oh.
That sounds like great odds. Like, yeah, that's
right.
Great. I get to choose now how I get to die. Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. That sounds fun.
Anna doesn't know any prayers. So Paul is like, oh, wow. Like he's high-key judging her, but he's like, okay. So he's like, okay, Peter can give you a prayer to recite. So he does, and she successfully recites it. She says, Dear Lord, make me meek so I in heaven thee shall meet. But of course, she can't just recite it successfully. She has to recite it like she means it. So she keeps playing into their game, and eventually Paul's like, okay, good job. Like, she got there. She did it. And then he goes, so that was the trial run. Now, if you can say this prayer, which is sadly much too short, backward without any mistakes, you get to choose not only which of you kicks the bucket first, but also, and this will no doubt interest you more, how.
What? Like, I'm done, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and I'm no, just kill me.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Anna is over this bullshit.
Yeah.
She lunges for the shotgun that is on the coffee table. She manages, like, remember, she's still bound, not gagged, but bound. But she grabs it, like, through with her hands, even though her wrists are bound. Grabs the shotgun, points it at Peter, shoots, and he's knocked off his feet. His blood sprays everywhere, and it's a perfect shot. Peter is dead, and with one hit.
Okay,
kills
couldn't be
Peter.
Couldn't be me. Damn, girl. Wow, okay.
I know, like, I don't know if I would be able to, especially just her wrists being bound, like her being able to do that and do it so quickly. Like, they're all like sitting pretty close together. She does it so fast, and Peter's just suddenly dead, and it's like, holy shit.
Wow. Yeah, that's insane.
So Paul is pissed. He grabs the gun back and pushes Anna down, and he starts panicking, and he's looking around and he's saying, where's the remote? Where's the remote? And he finds the TV remote on an end table, and he hurriedly presses the reverse button. And then the last 2 or so minutes of the whole movie start reversing right before our eyes until...
No freaking way.
Until we're at the moment where Paul is saying to Anna, that was a trial run, and like explaining to her the new rules.
Well, this fucks with my score a little bit.
I know.
Whoa. Mind blown. Okay.
He goes through the whole speech again. It's so crazy how it takes like 2 minutes, minute and a half or whatever it is to like really sit through the whole movie reversing. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back to it. And he goes through the whole speech again. Anna lunges for the gun again, but this time Paul is ready for it and grabs it away before she can get her hands on it. Because he knows now that she's going to lunge for that gun.
What?
Yeah, he's aware. And then he's disappointed that she didn't just play his game, and he tells her, you shouldn't have done that. You should have just followed the rules, but now you blew it. Say goodbye to George. And then he shoots George, and George is dead.
Can she reach the remote? No, I'm kidding.
I know, but that's so annoying that she doesn't know that she can, like, she
that's
can do that too.
right.
Well, I don't know if, like, the how this universe is working right now. It's not even a universe thing. It's like a
It's
meta thing.
not. It's a meta thing. It's yeah, no, that's really interesting because,
Yeah,
like, this it's not part of the story or the plot. It's just a fun piece that they're using to make the movie entertaining because
exactly.
it's not even like the movie has, like, been so based around meta. It's just
Nope.
had a few meta moments, and, like,
Mhm.
that is a crazy thing to throw in.
Yeah.
And because it's the movie isn't that out there or that weird or, like,
Mhm.
that meta, and they're just like, "Nah, let's just throw this crazy shit in here."
Yes. I can't wait
Wow.
to talk about it more. Like, I just can't wait to talk about
I
all
know.
this.
We will.
Um, but yeah, no, it's frustrating because, like, yeah, she's not aware of the fact that
Right.
she was just reversed. Like, it's not even like time has been reversed. It's like the movie has been reversed.
Yeah.
But Paul is.
Huh.
Peter is not. It's just Paul.
Gotcha.
We cut to Peter, Paul, and Anna walking down to the lake in raincoats. It's light outside now, it's morning time,
Mhm.
and they lead her onto the boat with them. She's got duct tape on her mouth now. There's rope still around her wrists, and once she's sitting in the boat, Peter ties rope around her ankles again.
Oof.
Then they set out to sea. So Peter and Paul are sitting up to
Yay!
It's like a really pretty, it's really pretty. It's like a beautiful
Damn.
morning. Like the landscape is beautiful. Peter and Paul are sitting together in one spot, and Anna's pretty much lying on the floor in another. And we remember that the sharp knife from the beginning of the movie that George and Georgie were using down here is still here, and Anna feels it, like she's sitting right by it.
Ooh, okay.
So she starts working away slowly and quietly at the ropes around her wrists. And meanwhile, Peter's really passionate about whatever the hell he's talking about to Paul. And I feel like it's important. So I'm like including this whole dialogue.
Okay.
So Peter's saying to Paul, so everything is its mirror image, but all these predictions are just lies to avoid panic. But now Kelvin knows what's going on, and he wants to warn his wife and his daughter in time. And the problem isn't only escaping the world of antimatter, but also communicating between. But then Paul cuts him off and is like, hey, look. And he's noticed that Anna is trying to cut herself free. And he
Oh
goes,
my god.
now that's a sporting spirit. Like he's proud of her. And then Peter just takes the knife from her and throws it in the lake. And yeah, they've like made it out to the middle of the lake. So Peter then also goes and grabs Anna to bring her over to them at the edge of the boat. And she's obviously fighting against him. And he's like, ugh, would you please just cooperate? This isn't easy. Otherwise, I might hurt you.
Oh my god.
And he manages to get her sitting on the edge of the boat with them. And then he's like, so what was I talking about? And Paul answers, the difficulty communicating between matter and antimatter. And Peter's like, right. So it's as if you were in a black hole, and gravity is so strong that nothing can escape, absolute silence. Paul cuts him off and is like, what time is it? It's just after 8. So Paul kisses Anna on the cheek and then says, ciao, Bella, and pushes her off the side of the boat into the lake. Yeah.
What? Dude, I don't think they're human, actually.
Yeah. Peter asks why he did that already when there's still another hour to beat the bet, and Paul's like, I'm kind of hungry. And Peter's like, oh, you right. Yeah.
I mean,
So
fair,
it's
to
been
be
a
honest.
long night. I
It
mean,
has. It has.
as they sail back, Peter again continues the discussion that he started, saying, when Kelvin overcomes the gravitational forces, it turns out that one universe is real, but the other is just fiction. So Paul
Mhm.
asks, where's your hero now, in reality or fiction? And Peter explains that his family's in reality, but he's in fiction. And Paul goes, but isn't fiction real? Like you see it in film, right? So it's just as real as the reality you see, right? And Peter's like, no, that's bullshit. That makes no sense. And then we cut to Paul walking up to a new house. So exactly, you know how this is going to end.
Yep.
The screen door is closed, but we can see in because the main door is open, letting in a breeze. And he calls out, hello? And Gerda comes walking over in her robe, looking sleepy, the woman who stopped by with her boat the evening before.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, yes, hello. And Paul says, good morning. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm coming over from Anna's. And Gerda's like, okay. And Paul continues, you don't remember me from yesterday afternoon? I'm Paul. She's like, oh, right. And she opens up her screen door for him to come in. And he thanks her and steps inside and then says, Anna sent me. Some guests dropped by unexpectedly this morning, and she wonders if you could spare a few eggs. And Gerda says, "Yeah, I think so. Just wait here a minute." And she heads off to her kitchen. And then the movie ends on a freeze frame of Paul looking straight into the camera with like a little smirk, like he's got a fun
Ew.
inside joke with us because we both know what's about to go down, but Gerda has no idea.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
the
God.
grindcore music kicks in one last time to carry us out, and that is the movie.
What the frick?
Are you mad or do you think it's cool?
I think it's cool because we have movies like this,
Yeah.
Like, movies like this exist, so I don't mind when people have fun and add weird, quirky things that
Yeah.
don't make sense. I'm not the kind of person to get mad about something like that at all. I think that's
Okay.
fun. I think it's cool. I think it's entertaining. I like a meta moment.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Okay. So I like read up on interview stuff like from
Mhm.
like the director and everything. And I just read up on a lot of people's thoughts about this movie.
Right.
And now these are my thoughts about this movie based on what I've read. Paul is self aware that he's in a movie.
Okay.
And he is trying to kind of be the director of his own movie and give us, the audience, something entertaining to watch.
Yes. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, that comment when his friend Peter killed the boy too soon. He was like, "Shit, like this isn't usually how like movies work. Like we got to keep our main characters motivated and we need to give the
Right.
audience hope so that they are interested in the second half of the movie. But now you killed the kid and like it kind of fucks with my plans."
Yeah.
He could have reversed there, but he didn't.
Oh, true.
So he's like,
True.
it's a challenge. I'll work with it. We can still work with
Gotcha.
this."
Question though, because like when you're, you've been on this side of it. I've kind of the whole time was just I wasn't paying attention to what Paul was doing versus what Peter was
Sure.
doing. So whenever there was a meta moment, it was always the same guy having it. Okay,
Yes,
gotcha,
yes. It was
gotcha.
always Paul. There was also a meta moment that I didn't mention. I don't know why, I could have, but when they were playing hot and cold, Paul and Anna looking for her dead dog,
Uh huh.
at one point he's like annoying the shit out of her, being like, "Cold, cold, warmer," and whatever. And then she's like off, like trying to figure it out. And then he looks at the camera and winks.
Oh.
That was the first moment where it was like, oh, that was weird. When I first saw it, I was like, did he just wink at me or is
Mm.
like someone out, like did he look at toward the house and like wink at Peter like through a
Oh
window?
yeah, 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 yeah.
But now looking back, I'm like, oh, that was like the first little seed.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I guess like the director, this is their take on the desensitization of people watching like violence in film. It's one of those.
Mm.
So he used horror to get this message across because like we're watching all these awful things happen, and like the moment where they're like torturing these people and he's like, well, the audience isn't ready for it to be over yet. Like this is what they're
Yeah.
here for. This is what they came to see. And it's like the people that feel so real, like this couple that feels so real in the movie, that's just begging for them to like just stop, like don't make a game of it, don't make a movie of it, like this is
Yep.
my life, this is, I'm in pain, you just killed my son. Like
Right.
it feels so, like the reaction from the family is just so well done, it feels so real. But then I also
Yes.
like feel disgusting at the end because like I like this movie and I like it because like there's the message calling me out for being entertained,
Right.
but also like they're self-aware about it being entertaining. So then I don't know, it just made me like question like why do I like horror movies? And this is also why I decided to include the tidbit about the main couple and how they passed, and like their marriage and how they
Mm.
passed,
Yes. Forgot about
because
that.
I was also like, so I had a moment at the end of this movie. And then when I saw that information about how he passed from stomach cancer, and then she like took her own life like years later, and I was like hyper aware of the fact that I was sitting here in my cozy little home reading this information about very real people and being
Mm.
like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I have to tell Caitlin. But then I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucked.
because of the nature of the film, I'm like, now I'm hyper aware of just like how I react to other people's, like what other people go through. And yes, like it's different when it's fiction, it is. But there's
Absolutely,
also
yeah.
something there about it where it's like, why do we even like that? Like, why do we enjoy that? I've read like anxiety wise, like people with anxiety, like enjoy horror movies because it's like a safe environment to feel scared. And
Yes.
it's like a thrilling thing and it's exhilarating in a safe way. But it's
Mm.
like, also, I don't know, when I read that about like the real actors and I had that reaction to be like, oh my God, that's crazy. I need to tell Caitlin. And then I'm just moving on with my day. It's like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I kind of feel that too with grief in general. This movie just opened my mind up to so many things where I'm like,
Yeah.
because I just lost my grandma in December. And then you have the same thoughts where it's like, how is everyone else just like, oh, I'm so sad for you. But anyways, like, how can you just move on? Like, don't you
Right.
understand how awful this is? But then
Yeah.
even now, me, like someone who does understand the depths of grief, you don't feel the same grief for other people. Like if you're not experiencing it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird line of like what's appropriate. And I don't know. Like I'm not going to stop watching horror movies because of this movie. It's low key I think the message that it's trying to get across. It's like you're fucked up. Pay more attention to like what you're getting enjoyment out of. I don't know. Like I still am going to watch horror movies and everything, but then I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm still going to watch horror movies after this?" Like it's just like I'm just like fucked up from this movie.
No, I feel like you just opened like 25 doors in my brain.
Yeah.
But no, this is where like from, a realist point of view, like I recognize morbid curiosity and like as
Yes.
unfortunate as it is, like it's a terrible thing, but it's true. It's human nature. Like there are a lot of aspects of human nature that are not pretty, but that are true. And I think morbid curiosity falls under that.
Yeah.
And then like this also, like what I'm thinking of as you're saying all this stuff, this is where true crime comes in for me because like I'm
Yes.
somebody who has enjoyed true crime in the past,
Mhm.
but more recently started to like stop consuming it because of exactly this. Like there's
Mhm.
something about it that feels really off. Like you said with fiction, like horror movies, I don't feel weird about it because it's fake. Not that
Mhm.
like I mean, again, you just opened a lot of doors in my brain, but
It's like, why is that okay? But it is okay. Like,
why?
I agree. Like, I get what you're saying, but it also is like there's a conversation to be had even there on a certain level.
Right. No, I absolutely. Yeah. That's wow. I'm definitely gonna watch this movie at some point for
Yeah.
sure. And honestly, I'm kind of curious to watch the original and then maybe watch the remake because I'm
Yeah.
curious what the remake is like. Do you know what
Yeah.
year the remake was?
I think I could be wrong, but I think it was like 2007.
So not even like that long after.
Yeah.
For that time period anyway. Now remakes are made within like 5 years, but
Exactly.
like why is there like a How to Train Your Dragon live action? I don't know.
Wild.
So off topic, but anyway. Wow. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I feel like you just gave me an
I
idea.
know. Like, there's nothing that we can say right now. I think this is one of those movies where it's like, we're not going to get all of our thoughts out right now. For me, it's like, I'm going to have these thoughts and it's like literally changed my brain chemistry a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be able to, I still haven't wrapped my head around how I feel about everything, even though it's been like a week that I've been working on this movie.
That's a sign of a great movie.
Exactly. This is why it's number 4. This is why
I
it's
get
my
it.
number 4. So, like, survivability, though, for this final act, it kind of messes with my survivability for the whole movie. And I don't know if today
Right.
how you want to handle our scores, because I understand this is a movie where it's like, if you just want to put it at like, well, am I a 0? Is it just a 0? Because they're just going to rewind every time I do something right. There's
Right.
that, but then also, if you kill Paul, I don't think Peter doesn't know that he can rewind. So
Ooh.
like if you're not aware that you need to kill Paul for that reason, so that doesn't help. But if you manage to somehow kill Paul at some point in this movie, I think you could survive. But then also it's like more meta than that. The writers make you aware that they are in control of Paul and that Paul is not going to die and that this movie is being told for like a specific story and there's no way that the characters are going to survive it.
Do you think this is a little bit too deep, I feel like, but do you think from Paul's point of view, like he would be willing to die for a good movie?
Ooh, like if you could manipulate him to think that.
Not even manipulate him because I don't think at any point he's gonna tell you, but like
Mhm.
say, like would there be a I don't know, would there be a
I
situation where he
I'm gonna say
dies?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he
No.
won't die for the sake of the movie because he is trying to end on like a everybody dies pessimistic note and you're fucked up, and because I don't know, like
Fair.
he is trying to subvert expectations. I think he's trying to deliver a movie where you think you have something to root for but then you don't. I think that's his whole shtick is
Right.
everybody dies.
Oh, I'm so overwhelmed right now. Like,
I know.
there's so many places my brain can go because I'm thinking, like, how I was like so gung ho about, like, well, if I made it out of the house, like, I would have made
Mhm.
it, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. So, do you think if I had, like, escaped, quote unquote, escaped, he would have just rewound?
Yeah.
So, like,
Exactly.
0 for the third act.
Exactly.
But like you said, does that make it 0 for acts 2 and 1 now?
Exactly, because it's like, in hindsight, do we need to change to just a flat 0 with the information that we learn in the third act about the meta-ness of the movie?
Fuck.
Yeah, I think for me, I might do that, where it's
We
like
might fucking
0.
0 this shit out. And I'm like so mad. This is the first time I've like written out my scores and I was all excited about doing my math. And like, it's just like, well, fuck that, I guess.
Yeah.
0. I'm dead.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's it. 0, 0, 0 for everything.
0s across the board. I hate to say it, but yeah, I don't think there's in a meta universe where the killer can say, "Oh, we messed up, rewind." Yeah, because I don't think we're killing. Technically, you could say we're gonna kill Paul, but no.
I just don't think, with the message of the movie being like what it is, I don't think we can kill Paul. Like, then I'm like, the writers wouldn't let me succeed at that.
Dude,
do you know what I mean?
Insane. No, you're right, but it's insane.
It is insane. It's a mind fuck.
Whoa, I love it. That's awesome. That is so awesome. I love it. Hell yeah, we found our 0. People are gonna be like, 0. What?
Like, scared.
Oh my god. People are tuning in for this episode. They're gonna see that 0 and be like, the hell?
Yeah. And like, even while you're listening, up until you get it, like, you're gonna be like, 0. Like,
you're still gonna be like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna watch the remake as well. That'll be easier for me to put on and watch, especially now that it's like not subtitles, because I would definitely recommend you just watch the OG first.
Oh, for sure.
But I can let you know, like, if they're both worth watching, for sure, because I'm curious with it being made by the same person.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like looking it up right now. Funny Games. Yeah, 2007.
Okay, yeah. It's so interesting to me that so many people walked out of it back in 97, and now I think it didn't do well. I think it really was just a festival movie. Like, it made a festival circuit. It did have some theatrical releases, but it wasn't super popular, I don't think. I think it was like it was found again. Like, I watched it on Max. I don't know if it got added to streaming like recently, and that's what caused it to like be so popular again, is like getting added to streaming services like in a modern age. But it wasn't a big movie, and a lot of people really didn't like it. And I'm curious as to when they walked out. Like, was it the dog? Was it the child? Did they not like the meta? Like,
it's either to me, it's either the kid or the meta.
Okay.
I feel like the scene you described, the 10-minute scene with the kid, like that sounded like it was hard to watch based on the way you described it.
I could see that being the scene that people walk out of. Yeah.
But like the things you said where they were like, oh, it's vile and disgusting. Like, to me, just listening to it, I don't see that. But maybe, you know, I don't know. I'll have to watch it. The
vile and disgusting part, I can understand definitely, with the kid, because it was just shot in such a realistic way. Like, it was so hauntingly realistic how this was shot, which just adds to like the uncomfortable feeling with the meta situation.
Right. Okay.
So I can understand, but I think, literally, I just think they weren't ready for it, and now we are, and it's a great movie, and everyone should watch it.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to watch it now, even though I know like what happened.
Yeah. Okay, well, everybody, good luck sleeping tonight after that. And if you want to check us out, you can follow us on Instagram. We have everything linked over there. You can find our Discord from there as well. And on Discord, please let us know your own scores and let us know, would you survive?